Fragments of Silicon, the perfect thing to put in those folders that you can now make on the Nintendo Switch.
All right, welcome to another installment of Fragments of Silicon. I'm your host, Adam. Joining me, as always, are Petty and Golix. Well, I suppose let's get to the news, as always. All right, Petty, why don't you start us off this week?
Well, the big thing is, last week I got a Stream Deck. So I now have little hotkeys I can use to make the show easier.
Yeah. And not to be confused with a Steam Deck,
Yes.
which, looks remarkably similar in print form.
Indeed. But yeah, so this thing has... I didn't think it would be this useful, but oh my god.
I'm like, well, how useful is it?
I don't have to go hunting around in menus for the title theme and stuff, or any of the regular assets I need to switch around on the overlay. I just hit a button.
Oh, neat. That does sound convenient.
Very much so. And the button
Like,
can change when it's in use or not, so I know something's up.
how much was that?
I think I paid like 120.
Huh. A bit more than I would have expected, but
Yeah.
like, anyway, how did your dentist appointment go?
Sucked. The
Well, I mean,
tooth was so impacted that I actually had to shave off part of my jawbone to get it out.
ow.
Yes.
At least it didn't explode in your mouth like my GMs.
Yeah, but it's still one of those. That was painful. Hydrocodone was my friend.
I'd imagine so. I'm like, I, I hope they were able to make it a singular procedure.
Yeah.
Anyway, moving away from that, anything else going on?
I picked up a Guitar Hero guitar so I can play Rock Band again on the new 360 I got. The memories of being 16.
I'm like, I'm surprised you were able to find that. Like,
My local game store, I guess a lot of people have been cleaning out their closets and trading them in.
I guess. I know there's. I've been hearing people complaining about the lack of plastic instruments on the current consoles, but it's those games are never coming back. Like they tried like 7 years ago, and no, turns out everyone's still tired of Rock Band and Guitar Hero.
Yeah. But I
Well,
still
that and
like
Guitar Hero.
mine. Huh?
Well, I mean, you said Rock Band, right? So
Yeah.
I assume you have other people to play with.
Uh, yeah, sometimes. Like,
Okay.
occasionally I can get my sister tied down to play drums.
Like that sounds like a very awkward way to play the drums.
It's fine, she only needs one arm working. I mean...
You may have said too much.
The real question is, does she think she's getting good, but can she handle criticism?
I have no idea.
I mean, anyway, anything else?
Not really. Just been spending money.
I'm like, sounds like it.
Indeed.
All right, Gallix, you're up.
Well, we'll see how much money I have to spend on car because I have a headlight out and it's one that requires you to, quote, slightly nudge the battery aside to replace, and I don't want to fuck with that.
Oof.
Yeah, that sounds complex.
That sounds interesting if you fuck it up.
It's allegedly, it's pretty simple. I just don't want to mess with it, especially after the car fire recently. That was not mine. That was not mine, but I don't want to, get near a car battery.
I think there's a greater chance of, acid than,
Yeah, who knows?
Or personal
Anyway,
electrocution.
I don't want to do it in this way. They can look at the friggin' presumably heat shield that's making a lot of noise.
like, well, hopefully it's not, it's not an arm and a leg expensive.
It should be, even if it's more than more than it's supposed to be. It should be less than $100, but we'll see. The dentist appointment next month, I'm more worried about because that is for getting some fillings refilled.
Always
like,
fun.
Like, God, I can't even remember the last time I was to the dentist. I just have really, really good teeth. I've never had a cavity or anything.
I did for a while, but then I didn't anymore.
I'm like, did you stop brushing?
No, ironically, it happened my teeth. So when we moved up to Maine from Massachusetts, for several years we just never got around to getting a dentist.
Mm-hmm.
And when we finally found a dentist to go to, they said my teeth were great. But it dropped off sharply shortly after that. And I think part of it is that I aged out of the fluoride treatments or whatever.
Irony can be very ironic.
Anyway. So yeah, there's that. Nothing new on video games, although I'm looking forward to the new Kirby game releasing this Friday.
That's coming out this Friday? Fuck, I thought it was next month.
Yeah, no, it's next. It's a couple of days here. In fact, reviews just hit today, and well, it seems to be giving Elden Ring a run for its money in that regard.
Yeah, well, Kirby is very popular among certain people. It's certainly less complex than Elden Ring, I'm sure.
I'm like, no doubt. I'm just noting like the peer review scores.
Yeah,
Mind you, doing that kind of comparison is more than kind of dumb. But
yeah,
we don't have.
It's kind of apples and oranges-y.
But that doesn't stop people from doing it.
Yeah, well, that's the problem with reviewing everything by the same numerical scale. Also, is it just me or is the video twitching a little bit?
I don't know.
Hope not.
Like every 2 seconds, it like twitches.
I'm not seeing any.
Yeah, I'm not getting any problems showing up on OBS, so it might be a U connection issue.
It might be, but it's not. It's not like it's dropping. Just like the resolution, it's like if a camera was refocusing.
That sounds like a you thing. I've had that happen many times on YouTube.
Well, as long as it's not like an actual significant problem.
No, it doesn't look like it.
All right.
Anyway, anything else?
Well, as previously mentioned, Pathfinder game was kind of low key last week because my DM had a significant dental issue that he had treated, but it ended up having one of his teeth explode while it was trying to be extracted.
Right.
And, he was still dealing with the aftermath of that.
Okay.
But that's about it.
All right. I guess it's my go. Yeah. Right. So I guess my news this week is, let's see. On Sunday, I went down to celebrate my youngest nephew's 3rd birthday. Yeah, it was a good it was a good kids party because there were not quite a few. There was like 3 kids there, or 3 kids more than I was expecting, which is a lot uh, when you factor in the ages of kids and their hyperactivity. I'm not saying it was a bad party or anything. It's just kids are exhausting. Like, but everything seemed to go well. They liked the present and all that jazz. Like, still can't find a good cake. Like, 3 birthdays, 3 terrible cakes. Anyway, let's see. I suppose the other news is I have to go down to the bank tomorrow because my new bank card still hasn't arrived, and it's been over a month. Like, and I have to get that sorted out because that's lost in the mail now, or potentially accidentally thrown out. I couldn't tell you. All I know is I don't have what is supposed to be my current debit card, and and my current one is about to be deactivated. So yeah, it's a bit of a headache. Like, but anyway, yeah, I think that'll about do it for my news this week. So, merrily, we shall roll along to the interview portion of the broadcast. And joining us this week is Eduardo of Bonfa Games.
Yeah, it's me.
Yes. How are you doing tonight?
Well, fine, thanks.
Good, good. Right. So, how we like to get started here is we like to get to know the person behind the game, the studio, and all that. And we do that by asking this particular question: what got you interested in video games, both on a personal and a professional level?
Okay, I started playing games, video games, when I am 40 right now. When I was 3 or 4 years, I started with Atari 2000. It's a very old Atari. uh, but when arcades came to my city, I started to play a lot of beaten ups. I really love beaten ups.
Mm-hmm. I'm
And
assuming the likes of Final Fight and
yeah,
Knights of the Round, like.
yeah, this type. I remember go to a beach near my city, on vacation, and I stumbled in a Cadillac and Dinosaurs machine.
Mm.
Did you know? It's a Capcom beaten up. Do you know?
Yeah. I've
Ah, very
heard
good.
of it, but I don't think I've played that particular one. Not
Man,
exactly.
you
It,
really need to play Cadillac and Dinosaurs. It's a very good beaten up.
yeah, I mean,
You
I've
get
played a number of Capcom beat 'em ups, not necessarily that one. It's based
it's
off of
how
a property that didn't exactly have the most robust life, let's say.
yeah, it's about a comic of the 90s, and I
Mm-hmm.
really like the Cadillac and Dinosaurs. I like Final Fight. I like Knights of the Round, but the Cadillac and Dinosaurs for me it's a little polish in
Yeah.
comparison of the other games.
Mm,
I like that the game has weapons, guns, and
yeah.
grenades, and even a bazooka.
Not the only Capcom brawler that has all that. Captain Commando had a lot of those things, and
Yeah,
Armored
Punisher too.
Warrior. Yeah.
Yeah,
Like
it's
Capcom put out a lot of beat 'em ups.
yeah,
Like,
it
in fact,
was a good time.
yeah, in fact they put out a collection of those a few years back. Yeah,
I
including.
think they launched a new for a PS5. I don't know. Very recent. Again, they republished.
Hmm. Like, probably backwards compatibility, but
I think.
Yeah. Anyway,
But
did you play any other companies' brawlers?
I think I played it all. I played a lot of beaten ups. I really played. I think I played. I don't know for sure if I played all, but the most of it I play. But my passion is for Street of Rage. It's Mega Drive Genesis.
Right.
I
So
think all.
I'm assuming that that makes sense given your country of origin, Brazil. As I
Yeah,
understand it, the Mega Drive and the Master System were very big there because of local distribution, whereas
yeah.
other
We have tax rights.
consoles, yeah, whereas other consoles had a very ridiculous import tax put on them.
Yeah. This type of tax we have today. You still have today this tax. It's uh, it's very expensive for us to buy some hardware here.
Once again, so I've heard, like
Yeah.
that
But
was,
sorry.
yeah, that is unfortunate.
Yeah, it's a thing we already use it to. It's the way Brazil is. We won't accept it. But I played a lot Streets of Rage 1, 2, and 3. And I didn't have a Mega Drive. I play with friends' house when I was very little. I think 13 or 12 or
Right.
mais ou menos. Sorry, in this age. And when I was 13, I started to make Mugen games. Do you know Mugen? I don't know what to say.
Hmm.
It's a 2D engine. You make fighting games.
Oh, Mugen. Yes.
Mugen, yeah, this I don't know the pronunciation, but it's Mugen. I started making some characters and stage, and I say, wow, this is cool. I need to make games. I think I was 13 or 14.
I'm like, and what um what made you want to move to, well, something other than Mugen?
Ah, sorry to say again, but the reality in Brazil, when I was 13, we don't have any gaming industry right now, right in this area. When I was 13, so almost 25 years ago, we don't have marketing,
Right.
game marketing here. So program code about because I need to I want to make games and I start to program and some things and I was the all my life uh, playing with making games. If you look in my channel YouTube, I think you are already show the trailer of the game. But if
Yeah.
you see, we have 8 years ago some videos of 8 years ago with some of my beaten up attempts.
Like
I don't know if you can show, but you don't need. But
uh Petty, like, he's the one in charge of that kind of thing.
Yeah.
If you want
no,
to
no,
shuffle over.
don't worry, don't worry. It's only to illustrate. But I
Uh-huh.
have 8 years ago, I started to make brawlers, but I never finished any game, and I was playing, and I was making fun games. I trying to mix multiple I say multiple. I try to mix Streets of Rage, Final Fight, Chicago Knights, Dinosaurs, all that games in one. I was doing that really well. I was making a good game. But I think, wow, how about I put my characters here? And so I started to draw my own characters. I already have a story written when I was a teenager, and I started to remake the champions that I did before. Sorry, my English. If you don't understand my English, please ask again. My
No,
English is
no,
very raw.
no. I can get what you're saying. Like,
Okay.
anyway,
I I can speak in English, but I don't speak all day. Because of that, it's strange for me.
yes. At any rate, so did did any of those, let's call them, well, let's say previous attempts,
Okay.
build into your current project, Streets of Chaos here?
Yeah, yeah. The last iteration that I have was to reproduce Streets of Rage 2, and I start to reproduce in Unity. It's the engine that I use.
Hmm.
And I started to make all the characters. I started to make Axel, the Blaze. Uh, but there's a moment I say, wow, if I put a guy from Final Fight here, perhaps I
Hmm.
can mix the two games and turn it one. Respecting the video, the visuals of the Street of Rage. And I put the guy there, and it was good. It became a good character in the game. And, how I say, what, uh, you are showing right now. And this is one of my last attempts
Hmm.
on mix. If you see here, it says very similar what I have with Street of Chaos right now. But I have improved a lot and corrected a lot of bugs.
Okay. And at what point did the remixing become its own, let's say, distinct thing?
How I say that? You know, I spent a lot of time in making these fun games, and I started to think about, wow, if I put too much effort to do a good game, how about I do some money and started to make an original game. Uh, but to be true, when I was teenage, I I was writing comic books, and I draw a lot of comic books. But how I say, as a fun, no, not fun, amateur. I don't know how to say, amateur comics. Homemade comics. Now, okay. Homemade comics, and I have a lot of characters with good story, and I mix my old characters with the beaten up game. I think it's that.
Okay, that makes sense. And how long have you been working on, well, the current version of your game?
Up 1 year. In January, we we close 1 year. I have one character that is Franco already finished. I think I will polish until the first demo, but Franco is ready. I working right now with Sophie. It's a female character, similar with Blaze.
Right.
And
And I suppose another question that we haven't touched upon yet is: are you doing all of this work alone?
Yeah, I have a other job in my
Right.
day job,
Yeah.
8 hours a day. Is with commercial software. How I say I am spending a lot of my spare time in this project. A
Like
lot, a lot.
those are both not surprises, given your age and given the nature of video game development. Like I said, I keep bringing this up, and it keeps being true. Like I have yet to meet the developer who has said, I'm not spending a lot of time making a video game. Like so,
Yeah, but it's cool because I like it.
I mean, I I should hope so, considering it's a thing that you're spending a lot of time on.
Yeah.
So I like, and as far as another question I have, like, are you looking to make this a retail title, a commercial title, or is this something you are planning on putting out for free?
No, no, it's a commercial title.
Okay.
I
Uh,
already have some guys putting it on wish list in Steam.
oh, neat.
For me, to be true, I don't want to be rich or make a lot of money of it. But I don't see any problem to make some money with a cool project that I like.
That's a fair enough assessment. Um, especially since you are putting a lot of resources into this project, side job that it may be.
Yeah.
Like, uh, and
But I spend my money too.
right, and in
I,
terms of
okay, we can talk. So, sorry.
yeah, and in terms of solo development, is that all aspects of the game, including the music?
Yeah, no, I was about to talk about that. I hired a guy from Ireland, I think. He is making the songs for me. Wow,
Uh,
she's a very talented guy.
yeah,
Uh,
once again, that is not unexpected because I have found that if there is, even among solo devs, if there is a aspect that does get outsourced, it's usually like
yeah,
the music or the writing.
yeah, yeah. I write the history years ago, a lot of years ago, and so I okay with that. But uh, to be true, the code is already done. The code is all done. I only need to make the sprites right now. Is that what I'm making? And polish the characters. How I say that? I made a beaten up engine inside the unit.
Hmm.
If I don't know if you know Unit. Unit has an internal editor, and in my current state of my project, you can create a character only with unit. You don't need to code. Uh, uh, you don't need to code to make a new character. You can make it all with the editors. So and that I made for the project last project. How I say was done. The code already done. Now I am really working with the sprites, polishing the gameplay, and make the stages.
Okay.
The stages are very difficult to me. To be very true, the project is a little, how I say, late. The project can be more done, complete if I am good if I was good if with stages. I good with the pixel art of the characters, but stages I am suffering.
They are believe it or not, different skill sets for those who might be listening, because
Yeah, yeah, it's different.
yeah. Um, at any rate, how many stages are there going to be in Streets of Chaos?
I have a list. Let me take here. I think it was. Let me. One second. I found. 10 stages. 10 stages. The first one is the city. The second is on the top of the buildings in the city. You have to jump with one building for other. The stage three is still in the city, but it's a commercial area with stores and restaurants and something. Stage four, it's favela. How I say in Brazil is, I don't know. You say favela.
Hmm.
It's a poor part of the city, very poor.
Right. Right. I mean,
Uh,
it is a brawler after all.
yeah.
It's like,
This part of the game will have a real cool feature that no brawler has before.
oh,
I already programmed it, but it's not very complete yet. But it's working. It's a soccer game inside beaten up. To win the stage of favela, you need to play a soccer game, but it's a very different soccer game. Uh, you have to win with goals, a real soccer game, but you can kill your friends or your enemies with the win in the game.
right. Okay.
We will have your team in one side and the bad guys in the other side, and you can kill the bad guys to win the game, but you have to make so many points.
I mean, that's certainly an interesting premise for a brawler stage, if nothing else.
And we will have a mode in the game. How I say mode? You can choose to play. Soccer game. After you win the soccer game, you free or liberate. I don't know how to say uh, the soccer game mode. You can make your team and play soccer games with other guys and enemies.
Hmm.
I don't
And
know. I don't know if I was clear.
no, yeah, you're talking about a soccer game. You have to beat the bad guys in both, I'm assuming, the sports sense of the word and the fisticuff sense of the word as well.
Yeah, yeah,
Um, anyway, so I don't think we've actually talked about the actual story and the characters of the
yeah,
game
yeah.
yet, considering how much we've actually spoken about those processes. So, what is the premise here? Who are the
Okay.
people? You know, who are you fighting against? And all that stuff.
It's a very 80s history.
Right.
The main character is Franco. I think he is North American, but the real uh, naturality of his is not clear. He has searching in the world for his missing brother. When he was 12 or 30, uh, her brother was kidnapped,
Mm-hmm.
and they both had a tattoo in the arms, and how I say, yin yang tattoo. I don't know how I say tattoo. Let me see. It's a drawing in the skin. It's tattoo.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, and the second character is Manuel. He lives in Brazil. The game occurs in Brazil. And Manuel calls to Frank and say, some people here in São Castelo, it's the name of the city. It's a fictional city in Brazil. Some guys here are talking about your brother or something similar to your brother. They recognize the tattoo. In this moment, Franco travels to Brazil to meet with Manuel to start to searching for his brother, missing brother.
Okay. And
This is
who are the kidnappers?
uh, to be true. In the first game, the kidnappers will not be very clear, but
Okay.
the because he find the brother. I don't know you. I don't tell all the story, but he find his brother in the first game. But what happens to understand the when Franco reaches the city, he starting to see that the city is controlled. I don't know how to say. Uh, a lot of gangs and corrupted copies policy, corrupted policy, and they all starting to attack Franco. When he starts to search for his brother, the corrupted cops and the gangs starting to attacking. Uh, they don't let he find his brother. He started to attack back, and he discovered during the story, the history, that his brother is working for this crime organization, and the crime lord is the mayor.
Okay.
It's a reference to Final Fight Mayor in the
I
Final
was
Fight.
about to ask that.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah, it's a reference. In the Final Fight, Hagar is the mayor, and
yeah.
it's a playable character. In my game, the mayor is the villain. Villain, I don't know how to say. Uh, that's a real cool plot when he find his brother. It's a cool part, and you can play with brother after that.
Okay. And
Uh,
in terms of attack, speed, and power, how are those characters going to play?
yeah, okay. Franco is the more balanced. He is a he is like a Shoto, but in my game we don't have any power. We don't have Hadouken. We don't have magic. It's only fists, big punches, and guns, grenades. We don't have mystical powers or key or something like that. So Franco is the balanced. Manuel is the strong one. He has grabs
Yeah.
like Zangief,
Right.
but he has some different. He is from Brazil, so he fights with mixed martial arts MMA. Is capoeira mixed with box.
Mm.
He has some box moves, some capoeira moves, and some grab moves. It's a very original character.
Sounds like it.
Uh, but
And
but Manuel it's slow, a little slow and a little strong.
okay. And let's see. So we are getting low on time here, so just a couple more questions from me.
Oh,
Um,
okay.
how much more polishing do you think you have for the game is in a releasable state?
It's a good but it's a good answer question. Uh, I think I will have a playable demo
Uh-huh.
in the end of the year.
Okay. Like,
Uh, I don't know the month for sure, but I think it will be almost complete. Not real complete, but almost complete in the end of the year. But I really will launch the game in next year. I don't know the month or the date yet, but I work in spare time too. I don't really know how much time I will have.
that's a fair assessment of things.
Yeah,
And
but I planning to have some playable demo in this year to people play with the game.
like,
I to be true, I start to looking for pixel artists to helping me right now. I
mm,
already started trying with one guy, and to help the game to uh, become complete sooner.
well, I wish you luck in finding a visual artist to help you with the game. And let me see here. Are you looking to bring your game to consoles?
Yeah, for sure. I already starting to talk with people on the Xbox or Microsoft. I already have an account, and this time, this moment, I am how I say fill a form with the game data and send to the Microsoft. I will launch in Steam, Xbox, and Nintendo Switch.
Okay. I'm like,
Uh,
well, once again, much luck to you on those endeavors. Like,
yeah.
because, um, as I understand it, the console field is a fair bit more stringent with things than the PC.
I am talking with a lot of developers.
Mm-hmm.
They have give me a lot of tips about that. They say the game itself, the code of Unity is very similar. The if you using Unity, you don't have so much problems. The problem itself is the to get the approval of the stores, Microsoft Store or Nintendo Store,
Mm.
and this takes some time to to have a to meet all his requirements.
All right. Well, once again, hopefully all that checks out for you. Like,
Okay, thanks. I think it will be good.
okay. Um, and let me see here. I guess my final question is: have you come to any sort of pricing conclusion yet?
No, I don't have any pricing yet, but will be very low. I don't know how to say that, but if you get some beaten ups on Steam, like we
I
have
mean,
now Street of Rage 4, by the way. Uh,
mm-hmm.
Street of Rage 4, it's very expensive in comparison of the one. Sorry, I messed it here. My game will be cheap. I don't know
uh,
the price yet, but it will be cheap.
yeah, yeah. Like, I probably, if I had to wager a guess, I would say, given what's on display here, anywhere between say 10 and $20.
Yeah,
I'm not
yeah,
exactly
about
sure
that.
what,
Yeah,
you know.
about that. Not more than 20. For
Yeah,
sure, not more than 20.
Like,
99, 12.9, something like that.
I'm sure that will be formulated in its due time and its due course.
Yeah,
Anyway, so what I'm going to do here is I'm going to see if my colleagues here have any additional questions to ask you.
Before they ask, I have one thing to share about the game.
Go ahead.
I didn't say before you don't ask. Uh, all the enemies that you see in the video will be playable.
Like
They
every.
already are, they already are playable. All the enemies that you see are playable.
Okay. Right.
You can the game will have arcade and history mode. In the
Mm,
arcade, you will play with the only three main characters. In the arcade, you can play with all enemies.
Hmm.
I think it's a cool addition. Don't you
those
think?
sound like, yeah, I mean, the modes sound fairly standard brawler stuff, though the every enemy will be playable is certainly ambitious, if nothing else. Like,
But it's already working. All games, all enemies that you
right.
see are already playable.
I mean, that's good to know. Like, anyway, Petty, Gollix, do you have any questions of your own to ask?
I think
No, I
all
think
mine
I'm
have been
good.
answered.
Okay. Gollix?
I said I think I'm good.
Sorry, you both spoke at the same time.
Sorry.
So,
Yeah, it's fine.
I sorry my bad English, you guys.
okay. Yes. Yeah. Anyway, the game is Streets of Chaos. Its Steam page is up and running, so be sure to wishlist this today. And Eduardo, I want to thank you for taking time out of your schedule and being with us here tonight. So, Petty, play us to the next segment. All right, welcome to the topic of discussion. So, this week, in honor of the very, very shortly forthcoming release of Lego Star Wars The Skywalker Saga, I'm remembering that title correctly. I thought it would be good to talk about the history of Lego games. Especially worthwhile at this particular moment in time because it's I want to stress that at one point in time, Lego games weren't just the Traveler Tales series. Yes, they morphed into that for reasons that I'll touch upon in a bit. But back when Lego was first getting into the video game industry, they were, if nothing else, a lot more diverse in their exploits. And like, it's only after the success of Lego Star Wars, the original game, the PlayStation 2, Xbox, and GameCube version, that Lego games pretty much from then on, not entirely, but those were one offs. Like, before Lego Star Wars, it was a lot more scattershot and there wasn't a main Lego series to really latch onto. Like, but another reason why it's prudent to talk about the Lego games at this stage is um, we are nearing the end of a saga. In that, from what I understand, this is Traveler Tales' second to last Lego game, or at least exclusive Lego game. Because 2K Games has signed with the Lego Group to create a whole bunch of Lego sports titles for 2K Sports, which is interesting in its own right because that's going back to the past. Maybe not this deep with like Lego Sports. I think the closest Lego ever really got to sports would be the Lego Racers series, like, which was one of the better, I would dare say, underrated kart games of the late 90s. At least the first one. Never played the second one since it wasn't on a platform I owned at that particular moment in time. And
hey, it's a kart game where you get to build your kart that doesn't completely tear down the entire premise of people wanting more games in the series that it's based on.
Right. And honestly, we could do with a new Lego kart racer, because the technology has advanced a lot more in the 20-25 years since the release of the original games. And they could expand on what was definitely the most unique. Well, what was the unique aspect of Lego Racers? Because as good as they were, there's no getting around the fact that they were pretty derivative of Mario Kart, and especially Diddy Kong Racing. Like, I'd say Lego Racer was much more Diddy Kong Racing than Mario Kart, if only because of the particularities of the weapon selection, and that's because it had the stacking weapons.
Mario Kart's always been, you either get one shell or three shells.
Yeah.
Whatever. Whereas in Diddy Kong Racing, you could get multiple shots that were also better of a certain thing by picking up the same thing multiple times.
Yes. But aside from that, it was your typical, power-ups, shields, missiles, speed up, shields, what have you. There isn't really much more distinctive in terms of Lego Racers, but Lego Racers was just one of many Lego games that was released back in the day. You had like Lego Loco, which was about trains, train simulation. I'd say the closest thing to a main Lego series from this era was the Lego Islands series, which was definitely a thing that was kind of ahead of its time, if I'm being honest, because the Lego
It's more
Island,
or less a sandbox game.
yeah, it's this sandbox game with mini games, and even the first one has a hidden. You have to dig to find the actual plot. It's not like it's not very evident that you have to bring a spicy pizza to the Brickster, is what I'm saying. And this game was so successful they got 2 sequels out of it. Though oddly enough, Lego Island 3 wasn't actually, it was called Extreme Stunts. I think you can tell when this was released. And so on and so forth as it goes. There was Lego Chess, Lego Stunt Rally, which was about building a stunt track. And yes, I will have to acknowledge the Bionicle series, which is actually more, that's more of a spin-off that really wasn't, like Bionicle wasn't really about building things, which is, interestingly enough, always why the toy line was very contentious within the Lego group. Not making this up. Like, there were Lego execs that didn't like the Bionicle line because it wasn't about Legos. Bionicle, as far as I understand, it was a much more straightforward action figure line.
I mean, you still built them out of at least 50% traditional Lego Technic pieces.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, it's not like that exactly.
Yeah. I'm like, when honestly, the larger concern is the the cultural appropriation, since the Bionicle.
Even though everything sounds pretty cool, they did just kind of pick a bunch of words from actual Polynesian and New Zealander languages.
Mm-hmm.
I think it was New Zealand mostly, the Maori and stuff.
Yeah.
Which go figure, some people objected somewhat to.
Yeah. In fact, I think they got sued over that. Like, but the point is, this is what the Lego games were prior to the mid 2000s, and Lego Star Wars was, a first of many, not just the first what we think of today as a Lego game, but it was the really the first licensed Lego game as well, which is fitting because Lego Star Wars, the figure set was, if not
for a long time, Lego didn't really do licensed sets. They did themes and they did generic stuff. But Star Wars was the first big brand they made a licensing deal with, where they said, "We'll make Lego sets based specifically on your property."
Yep. And in association with LucasArts, and of all companies, IDOS, they concocted this Lego Star Wars game. And if you've played any Lego Traveler Tales game, you pretty much know what you're in for. Like, I won't say every Lego game across all media is the same, because sometimes they will have franchise specific things. Or they'll have
You there, Adam?
sorry, Mac apparently had just messaged in. I'll get into that in a bit. Anyway, yeah, as I was saying, or as the Lego games go along, you will see evolutions to the designs, the presentations. I think the most distinct presentational choice outside of, here's Harry Potter, but in Legos, here's Lord of the Rings, but Legos, that sort of thing, is voice acting. Because, you go back and the early Lego games had no voice acting. Or, the most you get is sounds or grunts. Yeah. And everything, the cutscenes were all done in pantomime, comedic pantomime. And some would argue that that was the better presentational choice, but for whatever reason, they decided that that was feeling a bit too old hat. And I believe Lego Batman 2 was the first Lego game to feature voice acting. Another difference is, like, you go back to the more PlayStation 2, Xbox 360 era Lego games, you're going to get the more structured, enter a level kind of deal, sectioned off. And versus more recent titles, which are more congruent, not completely, but they're definitely, and also the levels are fucking longer, a lot fucking longer. Like, and different games will have different, maybe an additional collectible to get. Going back to the upcoming Skywalker Saga, apparently the Lego brick, they've added a new Lego brick, like Kevlar. I forget the term for it specifically, but apparently, like, getting the studs will unlock 3 of these, as opposed to the golden meter where you get enough studs and that'll unlock one of the golden bricks. And likewise, the combat here is being upgraded. Yeah, sorry, it's a bit distracting because Mac is outlining something.
Yes, just ignore it for now.
Yeah. Anyway, combat. Combat is usually a dead simple affair. Like, very, very brain dead. And I'm not gonna lie, like, it's a big reason why I get bored with these games very quickly. Like, usually I'll have about 2 to 4 hours. In any given Lego game, because there's a lot of content in a Lego game, especially like the more recent ones, like Lego Marvel Superheroes has 150 characters, which is, if you're willing to put the time in, a lot. That'll keep you occupied for a long time, and that's kind of the, let's say, secret sauce of the longevity of the Lego games. It's like, that and as time goes by, they go on sale for as little as $5. That's why I have so many Lego games. But it's more, get the Lego game with the brand that you like. Provided it's an exceedingly popular one. For the either less popular ones or, there might have been issues. There was Lego Dimensions, the attempt to bring the Lego formula to Toys to Life.
Which, aside from Toys to Life, which I don't know how good that. I've heard the game has some pretty well constructed stuff.
The problem
from that, they certainly included a lot of different shit in there.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, the problem with Lego Dimensions was just, quite frankly, price. I'm like, the packs were like $100 each.
Something like that. Because they came with Lego minifigs, so get ready to sell your arm.
Yeah. It was fucking expensive, even by the standards of Toy to Life. Like, and that's why that's one reason why we only got one iteration. The other is just Toys for Life as a concept collapsing. Like, and there've been other like one-offs, like the Lego Worlds, which is the Minecraft ripoff that everyone forgot about. There was like Lego Rock Band, which was basically Rock Band but Legos. Like, and so on. But for the most part, it's basically been branded Lego games. The only exception to that rule has been Lego City Undercover. Lego City Undercover was notable for a few things. One being one of the few Lego titles initially built for one system, that being the Wii U. It would eventually get ported pretty poorly, in my opinion. Like the PC version ran like shit, and I can run Lego games from later on my laptop. So I know a bad port job when I see it. But that's not to say that the Wii U version was all that stable or good in and of itself. But Lego City Undercover was notable for being not based off of an external franchise. It is based off of a franchise that is Lego's own Lego City playsets, which is an original premise. So instead of being, Lego Batman or Lego Jurassic Park, it's a homage to a lot of 70s and 80s cop movies, just with a lot less racism. A lot less racism. Like, and also it's basically a more or less kid-friendly version of Grand Theft Auto in structure. And I wanted to, it's like I would have played more of that had the game not kept crashing. Like, that's how that worked out. Anyway, like I said, Traveler Tales Lego games by and large, they're good, solid, brain dead fun. Especially if you can do co-op. Also, it's these games are quasi built for co-op in that there's always like two characters around. So, but it's like if you don't have a second player, your second buddy or what have you will be AI controlled, and you can switch on the fly because, especially as the Lego games went along, um, you know, certain characters could do certain things. Not necessarily one specific character, one type of character. Anyway, like I said, Lego games, they're usually decent, but they're not very deep either. Like, it's it's a good kid-friendly series or kids and adults. But like for someone like me, yeah, I put in some time into a few of them, but that was more when I had a lot less in terms of video games. These days, the Lego games don't really pique my interest all that much. I'm like, just on a foundational level, which is why I'm interested to see 2K's Lego Sports Series. If nothing else, it's a change of pace. Anyway, what were your guys' experience with Lego games?
I didn't play too many of them. Like, my brother-in-law was more into them than I was.
Mm-hmm.
And, I think the only two I own are, Lego Lord of the Rings and Lego Marvel Superheroes, because I got them really cheap off Humble, I believe.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I played. One of my cousins had one of the Lego Island games when I was quite young, so I messed around with that some, but never really got too far. Otherwise, I was always aware of the other games and always like kind of wanted to get them, but it was never on my list of immediate things to get.
Mm.
You know?
Fair enough. Like I said, I have a ton of these. It's mostly via Steam sales.
Oh yeah, I probably have some now.
Yeah, but I did buy like the original Lego Star Wars for my GameCube, and 100%ed that. Once again, that was when I had a lot less in terms of video games. Anyway, and as I understand it, the Skywalker Saga is looking to shake up the formula. Not just by adding different collectible choices, but having things like reticule-based aiming and shooting, which is a radical departure from the usual, general aiming, let's say, of Lego games. And it's looking to have like actual space exploration. So like I said, Lego, at the very least, they're looking to differentiate a Lego game more than usual. I wish them luck in that endeavor. Anyway, so yeah, I think that'll about do it for this conversation, and that'll about do it for this installment of Fragments of Silicon. So before I get to the week ahead of Fragments of Silicon, I do have to mention that this week's episode of Moonhawk Studios Presents is, let us say, imperiled. It's not canceled, but okay, without giving too much here, let us say Mac and Varias are in danger of losing power, possibly at midnight tonight. Like, which granted does mean we might be able to get in an hour of the show, provided everything went smoothly. But this is not a smooth situation.
Mm-hmm.
Like, so I can't say that this week's episode is canceled, but I can't say when it's going to start either. Other than it does not look like it's going to be on time. And I mean, like, it's probably going to be more than a 10 or 15-minute delay. Because, this is
Well, we'll still use 20 minutes anyway, so.
I'm just prefacing this here and now while I can. Anyway, so hopefully that'll work out. We'll see. But getting back to the week ahead, no Friday show this week. And we will be having reviews of Please Touch the Artwork or Please Touch the Artwork. There is a comma after that, please. And trust me, that's actually important. Grammar is important. What Lies in the Multiverse for the PlayStation 4. About an Elf for the Nintendo Switch. And Flatland Volume 1. So, hopefully everything will work out, and we'll see you on the MSP show. But, if our next encounter is on Sunday, then I shall wish you good gaming.